Hey everybody, welcome to the channel or welcome back to the channel, whatever's appropriate for you. I really appreciate you stopping by to check out some of my content. Hey, it's been about 24 hours since I got the reMarkable Paper Pro Move. Did a video on this yesterday and got a lot of engagement from viewers with comments and questions, and I wanted to address those here in this video. Before I get started though, just want to remind you, if you like what I'm doing here, please take a moment and like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps more than you know, especially when I'm a small independent channel and I finance everything that I do. I buy all the devices. Really, nobody's providing these for me at all. So, helping me to grow the channel is really appreciated in any way that you see fit to help on that. So with that said, let's dig into some of the viewer comments and questions. So the first question comes from FDK61. It says, at first, I dismissed the remove. I love that name, remove. It's a shortening of reMarkable Paper Pro Move. Anyway, I dismissed the remove since I have the Paper Pro larger size, but after watching your video as well as a few other channels, I think I can find a use for it, especially how quickly and easily it syncs, which you showed in your video. Your size comparison got me to cut out a cardboard mock-up using the exact dimensions of the remove. Holding it in my hand feels as if the device is just the right size. It even slides into my front jeans pocket. Hopefully, it will do it with the folio and the pen on it. By the way, you do a great job responding to people's comments. Thank you. It's not just about producing the videos for you. You really want to connect with the viewers. I appreciate that. Hey, I really appreciate that comment, and thanks for noticing. I try to get out and answer every comment that comes in. I'm probably not successful on every attempt, but I appreciate the recognition of that, and I really do want to engage with the folks that are engaging with me. If you have a comment or a question, I want to try to do everything that I can to get that answered for you. This one has multiple questions in one, and this comes from Cool Gravitas. I saw your channel for the first time and the video was excellent. Thank you. I had a few questions. First, in portrait mode, how easy or difficult is it to write in a planner template, such as scribbling an appointment or writing a to-do? Second, is $100 not too much for a leather portfolio of that size? When do you think third-party cases will come? Third, can flickering screen be turned off completely by just using it as a black and white tablet? And fourth, can one annotate on EPUB books and PDFs? How do they carry over to the larger Pro? Can you show an example? Thanks so much, and I'm writing to you from India. That is so cool. Welcome. It's great to know that I've got viewers in India. Really appreciate your questions there. So let's dig into those one at a time. So here you go. I've got both devices showing the files here. I've got a 2025 daily planner that came from reMarkable Methods. That's available through the Connect subscription. I've got it on both devices. I'm going to go ahead and open it on the reMarkable Paper Pro, the large device. It comes up to Saturday, September 6th. I'd already set it that way. And let me just say that I'm going to get this out of the way because I'm left-handed. I'm going to say at 10 o'clock, I need to make a YouTube video. It's hard to write when I'm at such an angle. It looks so horrible. But anyway, so that says make a YouTube video. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. I'm going to give it just a second to sync. It just completed the sync. So let's go over here and open it up and see what it looks like. So as you can see, it says make a YouTube video. If I were to write on this device now, and let's say, I just say finish video. My text is a little bit, or my handwriting is a little bit bolder there, as you can see. But let's take this, I'm going to go ahead and close it, let it sync. Bring it back over here to the bigger device. As you'll see, it'll sync here in just a second. It has completed. And you see that looks rather large and doesn't really look good at all. So I'm going to close this out, and I'm going to take the smaller device, and now I'm going to turn it in landscape mode. Now you can see I've got the full-size version of this PDF planner. And now I'm going to say, I'm going to just write the same thing. I'm going to just say finish video. As you can see, when I'm doing it in landscape mode, it treats it as the same pen width as I did when I used the larger device. So let's go ahead and bring this back to portrait. What I did on the large device and the small device and landscape look similar. What I did in portrait is kind of thick and large. So I'm going to go ahead and close that out, let it sync up here. You'll see it happen. There it goes. And you'll see that when I write in landscape mode on my PDF planner, that it's just as if I was using a larger device, and it doesn't make this larger and thicker as it does when you're in portrait mode. So my recommendation, if you're going to annotate or if you're going to write on PDFs, it's best to do that. If you wanted to cross-device compatibility and you want your handwriting to look very similar on both devices, I always would recommend writing on PDFs in a landscape format. So the second part of the question had to do with the folio and how expensive it was through reMarkable, anywhere from $70 to over $100 if you don't get the bundle discount. So the question was, when will aftermarket folios be available? Just looking around on Amazon, I found several folios that will be for sale soon. This one, I'm not going to try to pronounce the name of the company, New Kaju. Well, I guess I will try to pronounce the name of the company. Looks like this one's going to be available for about 25 bucks, 26 bucks. Looks like it's got the pin loop magnetic closure as well. And it says it's going to be available October 9th through 24th. I found 2 or 3 other options as well from other companies, and they had kind of the same delivery date. So it looks like we're a month away from third-party folio accessories for the reMarkable Paper Move. So the third part of the question had to do with screen flickering and wanted to know if you could avoid it completely if you just wrote in black and white. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to use the larger reMarkable Paper Pro for this because it's easier to see. I don't have anything except for black text on this, whether it be the PDF background or my text here. I can tell you that when I write in black, there is no flashing. When I change colors and I go to like red, you do see the flashing on the red. So once again, I'll go back to black. No flashing. Go to cyan. And there is the flashing there. And that works the same thing. I've got a marker here. If I were to highlight, I get the real quick flash there. And of course, there's no black option for the highlight. So yeah, it does appear that you can write only in black on the standard background, and that you can avoid the flashing. All right, then the last part of the question had to do, can you annotate on PDFs and EPUBs, and what does it look like between the two devices? So let me show you that. All right, so I want to start off by showing you some books. So I converted all of my library of books from different sources that I had over to EPUB and put them on the reMarkable some months ago. So I'm going to open a book that I have not opened on either one of these devices, and that's Stephen King Under the Dome. First, I'm going to open it on the larger device and let you see what that looks like. All right, so I am on page 18 on this particular device, and I've got you can change your settings as far as what text size you want on an EPUB by coming over here to your 3 dots, go into text setting. You can make it smaller, you can make it larger, you can change the justification, the page margins, and the line spacing, as well as the font. I typically like to read at a smaller font size. So we're going to give this just a second to refresh once I hit save. All right, so we're back on the page. So I like my text a little bit smaller, maybe a little bit harder to read on this screen, but I'm going to go ahead and highlight some text here. You don't have to be real careful about making sure your lines are straight. reMarkable is going to straighten that out for you. As a matter of fact, you can just do this if you want to, and just kind of hit all of the lines if you're going to do a whole paragraph, and it's going to fix it for you. So did all that in a pink color. I'm going to go ahead and close this. Well, I'm not going to close it. Hold on. I'm going to come back over here and annotate on this and just say, great passage. Put a check mark by it. So you can see, I wrote on that particular part of it there. So let me go ahead and close that out. Give it just a chance to sync up. Okay, now we've got it open on the reMarkable Paper Pro Move. As you can see, it's too wide for the screen based on how I had it formatted there. It's easy to fix this, and we'll look and see what happens to my annotation once I do this. So I'm going to come in here and go into Adjust View, and I'm going to say Text Settings. The only thing that I'm going to change is the margins. I'm going to make those a little thinner. I'm going to say Save. All right, here we go. It has gone to a more narrow margin. And as you can see, it did not keep my highlighting and my annotation perfectly where it should have been. It has messed that up completely. Let me go back into it here and see if it's even on the right paragraph. I don't think it's even close to being on the right paragraph. So we'll open it up and look at it. And now it's also changed it on this device as well. So when you highlight on one device to the other and you change anything to do with the aspect or the text setting or the appearance of it, it's going to mess up your annotations and your highlights. Let me show you how to fix that. All right, so something I want to show you on the reMarkable. I just erased this on the bigger device. It looks like I've got a little mark over here as well. I just erased this on the bigger device. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. And as you can see, without closing the document over here, it went ahead and fixed it or made the change that needed to be made over here. So I want to show you how you fix that as far as your annotating in other devices. So now that both of these are in the same format, as far as I've changed the format, I've changed the appearance of this. So both devices are the same. Now, if I turn this into landscape mode, and if I do the same thing, if I were to go in here to highlight, let me just do it in red. And let me do, well, I'm sorry, I'm not in the marker. I'll do this in orange. All right, now if I come in and if I do the highlight like I did before, I don't have to be super precise with this, and it's going to catch everything. So now, and if also if I were to make an annotation, let me just go back into my pen. Let's go into black, and let's say, cool, well, that's a little too thick. Let's come in and say, cool beans. All right. So that is after, it's before the paragraph that says, Chuck, I think I see two boys beside the Peace Bridge. So let's go ahead and close this out. And we're going to open it up over here. Our highlights and annotations should show up here once it syncs. All right. So since I did this in portrait mode, it held everything just like I had it before. I didn't change anything to do with the formatting of the text or the size of the text or the size of the margins, and everything stayed pretty much the same. All right, the next comment came from Peakwood Cobb 2009. I hope I said that correctly. It says, no, not all lefties write like that. I do not hook my hand, and I'm 100% a left-handed person. That comment was a result of something that I said in the video where I was writing and I was saying that left-handers write like this. I had no idea. I thought all right-handers, left-handers hook their hand like this. Apparently that's not true. So I appreciate the correction from that particular viewer and another one that also chimed in and said, I also don't write like that. I'm a lefty. Larry Marceau 4492 commented, bluer, dimmer illumination, thicker, same bezel as their device, twice the size, no upgrade in speed or storage after a year. Yikes! This review is fanboy. You know, you have a point on some of those things. Yeah, they could have had some hardware upgrades and some software upgrades for this release, but they really didn't do a whole lot of that. There were some marginal improvements in the PPI, and I think they're using a slightly different processor. The screen, I've heard a lot of reviewers comment that the screen looks better than the reMarkable Paper Pro. To me, they look very similar. But that comment about this review is fanboy, where did that come from? I'm a reMarkable fan. Probably the most beautiful screen from a color standpoint and really from just an overall visibility standpoint, in my opinion, on any device. So another thing that I really love about reMarkable Oh, well, I guess you're right. I guess I am a fanboy. Sorry. Okay, Olivier Maliner, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Forgive me if not. Says ridiculous price, locked environment, a bug made a feature, the flashing of the colors. Buy a Boox Go 7 color, cheaper, Android. You probably have some fair points. I did point out in the video that there was some opportunity for some software improvements that reMarkable could have made, and they probably have the least amount of features of any of the devices out there. But from a writing standpoint, they're really good. If you compare that to a Boox Go Color 7, the writing experience on that is nowhere near what it is on the reMarkable devices. So I would tend to disagree on that. Maybe one of the bigger Boox devices might be a better experience for you, but probably not the Go Color 7. All right, Jeffrey Withrow 2522 says portrait. I find I can write on the PDF planner page on reMarkable Paper Pro, and font size, if you will, is fine, and it appears on the Move smaller since it shows the full page, but that is what it is, okay, if you will, just small for reading. But if I write on the Move, say thin line stroke, and using pen option, it is okay, just small, say 6 or 8 point maybe. Then when viewed on the reMarkable Paper Pro, it is making the text written on the Move very large on the Paper Pro. Wild guess, say a 14-point font, if you will. It is as if, then showing the Move text on a Paper Pro, it is blowing up the size of the text because the planner page is taking up more screen space. Very strange. I think that goes back to what I was showing on the EPUB files a little while ago, in the fact that if you do anything in portrait on an EPUB or a PDF on the Move, and then it syncs back and forth, if you begin to create a document on the Move and you send it to the larger device, it's in that single column in the middle of the page that I showed you in the last video. If you're working with an EPUB or a PDF file, it's best if you're going to do any kind of annotation to turn your device sideways. That way you've got the full width or almost the full width of the reMarkable Paper Pro. You do have the full width of the reMarkable 2, and all of your text size or your handwriting line width is going to be the same. You're going to be you're going to want to turn the device into landscape mode in order to use PDF and EPUB annotations. All right, another question from Alex Pitt 4583. How's the ghosting when reading books, and have you tried comics? All right, so we're back into that same book under the dome. First of all, let me show you, this is really small, and I know I've got annotations and highlights on there, and this is about to mess it up. But if you're going to make this your primary reader instead of the reMarkable Paper Pro, and you want the EPUBs to be formatted better for this screen, once again, you can go back in and adjust the view, change your text settings. I could go to a bigger text size, leave that the same, hit save. And then I've got a larger text size to work with. You can go much larger than that if you want to, but it stays formatted for this, when you're using the margins on there, it stays formatted for this device really well. And for what I think I would do is if I were to make this my primary reader, I would go ahead and format all of my EPUBs to fit this device instead of the reMarkable Paper Pro, because I can't imagine myself laying in bed with that giant device and then falling asleep with it laying on my chest and falling on my nose. That would hurt. But alas, the question was not about that. It was about ghosting. So as you go into page turn, we'll just do, I haven't been counting, but let's do about 10 or 12. I don't really notice any ghosting. They've done a really good job of keeping that at bay. So I would say there's no issue with ghosting, at least in that particular EPUB. And unfortunately, I don't have any comics to be able to show you. Maybe I'll search for some and try to convert them, but I don't have anything at the moment to be able to show. Sorry about that. All right, the next question also comes from FDK61, so a previous question from this viewer. It says, you are very level-headed and practical, giving great advice. Well, thank you. Oh, they said thank you as well. I said thank you back. I liked the comparison with the other devices, although it would have been nice to get an idea of how thick they are. Okay, so before I go on to the rest of the question, let me just go ahead and show you that, and then we'll come back to the rest of the question. Okay, so here I have the ViWoods AI Paper Mini. I've got the reMarkable Move, or the reMove, as some people are calling it. I think that's a cool name. And then we've got the Supernote Nomad over here. So I'm going to give you the field test first, and then I'll show you visually on the screen. But when I move my hand across these, they feel virtually identical as far as thickness. So that's the reMarkable Move and the Supernote Nomad, almost identical in thickness. When I move my hand between the reMarkable Move and the AI Paper Mini, the Mini is significantly thinner. There's a drop off and a ridge when I come back. So let me show you first the Nomad, if I can get it to stand up. I'll show you the Nomad and the Move together. So you can see very similar thickness. If I can get that under the camera correctly, it's hard to do when you're watching the screen, but very similar thickness. And then when I compare the AI Paper Mini, same way, the Mini is thinner than the Move. It doesn't really look that much on camera, but it is a drop off when you've got them laying side by side. The Move is thicker than the AI Paper Mini. Surprisingly enough, when I compare the Boox Go Color 7 Gen 2, it feels like, and I know that there's, well, it's actually not a little bit thicker there, but it kind of feels like that they're the same thickness as well. So let's look at it on the camera. Maybe the Go 7 is a little bit thinner, but it's not by much. All right, the second part of the question says, but what I want to know is when you write on the Move and then it's transferred to the bigger device, you showed how it was in the center. If you write in the margins on the bigger device and then it's transferred to the smaller device, how does it display? Does it make everything real small, or does it show you the original area? And if you want to see what you wrote in the margins on the bigger device, do you have to then scroll on the smaller device to see them? Okay, so what we'll do is I'm going to go ahead and start a new notebook and just leave it called Notebook 9. That template's fine. I think that may be the small line template. But I'm going to come in here and just draw lines down the left side and the right side of the device, very rough lines, just to kind of show you how wide the device is once we get it to larger screen. I'll just scribble on a couple of lines here and show you that. So let's go ahead and close this out. Let it sync. Then I will bring in the larger Paper Pro. The file is already there. So you can see, as I showed in the video yesterday, that it does not use, you're not going to have anything on the left and the right of this because it's going to pretty much show what you've got as far as the size of the device here. If I were to open this device, you would see that it's pretty much going to line up lines, so on and so forth. So that is the screen size of your Move. If I were to write over here, these are kind of the margins. I'll just kind of put something in the dark space over here. I'll close that out, close this out, let it sync up. Let's see if that synced. Yeah, it did. Okay, so what it did on this device, it took it from a 1.0 zoom level to a 0.5 so that I could see what was in the margins here. I guess I could tap on this and it'll take me back to a 1.0, and then of course you can zoom in and out as you need to. It looks like it default zooms when you just do a pinch. Well, it doesn't default zoom. You can get it down to that 0.5 though pretty easily. And then when you tap, it always goes back to 1.0. So hopefully that answered your question if I understood it correctly. All right, and the final comment or question I'll be covering today comes from AK9120. I love your videos so much. They're always so informative. Keep up the good work. Thank you, AK. And could you please cover in your next video this question? How does the annotation or annotating on the EPUB files look like between the two devices? I've got a huge library of EPUB textbooks, which I have to highlight, write on, etc. And sometimes it gets annoying to bring the reMarkable Paper Pro everywhere with me. It's very big. Because of that, I sometimes have to upload some EPUBs on my Kobo and annotate there and then redo the whole commentary on the reMarkable Paper Pro. It's very time consuming. So I'd really appreciate it if you can answer it. I think that maybe some of my previous Q&As on this video covered that. AK, I would say that if that did not meet what you were looking to get an answer for, just leave another comment. I'll be glad to try to help you with that in any way possible. And by the way, I left out some additional comments that were along the same lines. It seems like what most people are asking about is annotating on EPUBs and PDFs and how does it transfer between the devices. So, I wanted to highlight a couple of those, even though they were kind of the same questions. So I hope you found that informative, trying to answer some of the questions and the comments that came in on the video from yesterday. I try to answer every comment that comes in. I know I probably missed some here and there, and I apologize. Don't feel like you have been ignored or that I don't value your input and your opinions or your questions. Sometimes they just get by me due to the volume of the comments, so my apologies for that. Once again, if you like what I'm doing here, please show your support for the channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're considering purchasing a device, please consider using one of my affiliate links in the description below. It does not cost you anything extra, and I get a small commission that might help offset some of the cost of the devices. So with that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.